Is the gentleman a Catholic? Were you in Auschwitz? Which is the number 119431?
Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the Auschwitz camp was established by the Germans in June 1940. The first transports to Auschwitz were Poles and Christians. Jews only arrived in the second half of 1942, and they were always directed to Birkenau. In Polish, it's Brzezinska. It's 3 kilometers from Auschwitz, which in German was called Stammlager. Stammlager Auschwitz was exclusively for Poles. There were very few Jews there, but anyone who was a Jew was always in a difficult position because the Germans' exclusive policy was to use Poles against Jews and Jews against Poles. However, all the transports that were partially exterminated were in Birkenau. Birkenau had 5 crematoria. In Auschwitz, Stammlager had only one very small crematorium. There, only Poles were exterminated in the years 1940-1941. So please do not confuse that Jews were in Auschwitz. Jews were always expelled and directed to Birkenau, and we Christians were kept, and there were always more Poles than Jews. It's quite confusing. That's what it's about. And that's it. It's an unfortunate thing that Jews here have more money and better connections to make incredible propaganda, which is absolutely impossible. Enough of this lie. For God's sake, Poles, stand up and tell the truth to the Americans, because they are complete idiots. They know nothing. Why do you think so? Americans believe that only Jews died in Auschwitz because all Jewish transports went to Birkenau, not Auschwitz. Actually, it's a mistake in nomenclature. They say Auschwitz because the Germans, it seems, in 1944 at the end created Auschwitz I, Auschwitz II, and so on. So they made Birkenau Auschwitz II. The second camp, and that's why Jews pretend to be in Auschwitz, in Auschwitz, as if they were in Auschwitz. It's an unfortunate thing because we know very precisely that the gas chambers were in Birkenau, not in Auschwitz. Now, as for compensations, we know very precisely that only Jews receive compensations. They have paid us so far $5,000, which is much less than I earn in a month. So Jews get some compensations every month. And they have received a large sum because they themselves were incredibly involved. Now, here's the story, ladies and gentlemen. Let us remember that our government in London harmed us because it did not announce our sufferings and our incredible misfortunes to the Germans. That's why the German government says that London ruined your Polish prisoners' whole history, and that's why you did not receive compensations earlier.